All right, we're going to talk about an iPad 2 problem. This is the third time I've seen this in the last couple of weeks. This was sent in by some folks that say, Jessa, this was brought to us with the LCD not working. We replaced and all was fine for a week, and now nothing works. Please help. And if we hit the top power button, you can see that the backlight does turn on, but there's no image. And I haven't opened this up yet, but my prediction is that this is going to have a burned image filter that I'll show you where that is on the iPad 2 board. And I've had one in here a couple of months ago that had a third-party LCD. When you plugged in that LCD, it would burn that filter. So I think this is probably going to be a parts problem. And I've seen this before a couple of times. When you have backlight but no image, there's two separate lines. The image circuit and the backlight circuit are completely different. So on an iPad 2, the backlight components are over there. They are working fine. And then I predicted this on a be burned and then opened this iPad up and it actually was, but that's what happened. So looking in the microscope with my iPhone, you can see the burnt image filter right here. Right there, that guy. So I'm making a video about this even though I'm using an iPhone and this place is all got screwdrivers out everywhere, because I've seen this once before where a replacement LCD actually caused this problem, and I'm kind of worried that that might be what's going on here. So what I'm going to do is replace this filter, and I'm going to plug back in this same LCD, and we're going to see if that's going to actually blow the filter again. Maybe it won't, because it said that it took a week to happen, but my guess is that there's something about these sort of third-party LCDs. Some of them are just got some kind of a defect that creates some sort of a spike that blows up this filter. I watched it happen on two different devices. I was dumb enough to take the LCD the customer sent in, tried it on one of my test iPad 2s, and it popped the filter right in front of my face. So that was kind of not cool. Alright, so I'm just going to get a little space here to change that filter. You can see I can use my metal tools like I like to, because I've put a card under the battery. This iPad also came with the battery not screwed down, but I think that's a completely separate problem. Alright, so we can turn on the good old hot tweezers that I use for 90% of what I do. Add a little bit of flux to that filter. And we're going to just pop it off. Clean up the pads a little bit. Put in a new one. And then I predict that the LCD will turn back on, but I don't know how long it'll stay on. Really should get this microscope camera hooked up so you guys can watch this quick and easy job. Alright, new filter's on. Clean that up really briefly with a little bit of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Alright, looks good. Blow it. Wash, rinse, and blow dry. Alright, now we'll let you guys take a look at that filter. And then I'll go figure out what's burning on the stove in there, because this is Mommy Fix It after all. Alright, there's a new filter, nice and shiny. Looks good. Let's point it out in case you were snoozing earlier. Right there, nice and new. Alright. Now we can borrow a screw from our board. And we'll screw the battery down. I kind of want to confirm this with a good LCD first. Let's grab a good one. All right, so here's my test LCD, which I've had for a long time. It came from my first iPad 2 repair that I bought on eBay from a guy named Motown Millions that had some quite shocking lock screen pictures when I finally got it working, but he had burned the LCD a little bit in his screen replacement attempts, and so it always had a little bit of a blue streak. Oh, look at that, that's green, that's not right. Here's another, so this is going to come up with odd colors. It's kind of cool looking, actually. And when that happens, you've got a problem with the one of the data filters near the LCD connector. Let's see what happens. Yep, so that's sort of green instead of... So that's got some abnormal colors there. So this is either a problem where maybe I didn't plug in the LCD flex enough, or it's going to be a problem with the data filter on the LCD connector. Now this is the problem that you can read about on the internet, which is fine if you're DIY. Give it a hard smack. Let's try it. Give it a good old smack to help reseat your LCD connector, which is fine if you are not going to open up your iPad 2. If you had a kid that dropped it down the stairs, absolutely give it a smack all you want. But if you're a professional, if you're actually charging somebody to do a repair, don't smack the LCD. Alright, so let's... I don't think you can see anything here. Alright, I'm going to take this one off. Alright, so it's off. Let me look real quick to see if anything jumps out at me on this board. Yep, there's the problem. It is a crushed data filter. So I will fix that real quick. There you can see what I'm talking about. Right there. That one is damaged. So we'll pop out that one, switch it out, and that'll bring back that black display. And then we will try out the LCD that it came with, the replacement LCD that it came with, and see whether or not that one is behaving the same way as that one I saw before, where it would destroy that filter on its own. But in any event, I will recommend to these guys to source a different iPad 2 LCD. All right, back to the drawing board here. We need to get this filter replaced. So we will fire up the ye old hot tweezers. Let's see if you guys can see this happening, kind of from far away. Now, if you don't have a donor board, you can jump across the pads and make two different micro jumpers to just sort of restore some continuity. It's not ideal, but it will work if you're trying to solve this problem. All right, you can take a look and see what it looks like with the old filter off. You see the 4 pads there? And now, let me see if I can grab a donor board for an iPad 2. Probably have one. Still has some. Okay. All right, so here's a board that we're gonna sacrifice. It could probably be repaired, but we're gonna take some parts off of it instead. And these are all Legos, you know, at any time you could decide to put them back on and it'll be just another Lego project. Alright, so that was the 3rd filter. We're gonna grab it. Off of this donor board. Stick it back down on here. All right, should be good. I'm going to test for continuity across that. Oops. So I'm just testing across the filter from one set of pads to the other to make sure that I have continuity, and all the way to the pin. All right, that's good. So that means that filter is on there, it's been replaced, and I will predict that with the Motown Millions test LCD, that this will come back up with a normal display. All right, so we're gonna pop back in the battery. And we will pop back in this test display assembly digitizer. Oh, that's not the test one, that's the one I think it's gonna burn up. Let's change that to my nice pink iPad 2 test assembly. I remember this Motown Millions with the crazy lock screen, making the comment that I've never seen that many Skittles in such a delicate area. Wonder whatever happened to that guy. I think it'd be kind of a good idea. A lot of these videos on YouTube tend to get kind of stolen and used by other people to represent companies that are not the original content authors. All right, so this is coming up black. Problem solved. I think if you keep your area really messy and looking really unprofessional, then that will cut down on that. Nobody's going to want to steal your content if it looks like you have no clue what's going on. So that's going to be the approach that I take here. Plus pink. I don't think guys are going to want to steal pink iPad 2 content. All right, there we go. Okay, so this iPad seems to be fine, normal display with the test LCD. So let's go ahead and take this off and try the LCD that it came with and see if it will blow up that filter or not. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. And I would prefer not to lose the backlight, so instead of waiting for it to decide that it's going to turn off for sure, I'll pop it off the battery. All right. Now for the original LCD that it had. Remember, this came in with backlight only, no image. And this is definitely an aftermarket LCD. And this is the markings on it, if anybody wants to figure out who does this belong to. Here's some of the other markings on it. Now it's possible that this was not caused by the LCD, that this was, you know, some kind of technician damage, like, you know, for example, using metal tools without taking the battery off. Well, you can pretty easily get a short touching the frame to a component. And there's a lot of voltage going in the LCD circuit, in the image line. All right. So last time we're gonna click back in the battery. Now for fun, while we turn this on, let's watch the filter instead of the display. So we're gonna lay this down. Let's see if you guys can see the filter right there. Okay, let's turn it on. So I see nothing going on at the filter. I see nothing going on with the LCD itself. So let's take a look. Try to get this thing some kind of a way. Oh, the LCD. Oh, it is showing the Apple logo now. The filter looks okay. Alright, so we'll put it down and see if it has come up to full display. And it's got lines and funky display. So I just press the power button again. Look at that. Lines, weird display. So that's an LCD defect. But it doesn't like that. And now it's back to the same original problem. Let me take you over to the corner so you can kind of see without all this ambient light. It's back to the original problem, which is backlight only, no image. So my guess is that it has just now blown that backlight filter again. So let's take a look. And I bet it's burned up now. Isn't this exciting? Let's see if we're right. All right, it's right over here. And all that hard work we did, it's burnt up, as predicted. All right, I'm not going to touch it because I still have the battery on, but right around there. See it? Right there. Let's take a look under the microscope so that you guys can really appreciate that. With my sort of low-rent microscope camera called the iPhone 6 looking through an ocular. And right there, you can see that it's all burned up. Where's my pointer? There we go. Right there. Filter right there. Burn up. Should look nice and shiny like that adjacent capacitor. All right, so now what's the repair? Tell the customer to throw that LCD in the trash. Call up the company, yell at them, because they again caused a board repair. Now we got to put another filter on there and confirm that this thing has normal display. All right. Now look how fast those hot tweezers come up to temperature. They make all this very easy. I can remember struggling for, you know, like an entire evening with something like a image filter like this, and you know, with a single iron, a whole lot of crying. Girls in repair cry all the time. It's really sad. All right. But now this is very straightforward. So if you're wondering what are these tools, I am seeding these with this, let's see if you can see this. These are the Hakko FM 2023 hot tweezers with the 0.2 millimeter tips. And that, for me, is powered by the Hakko FM 203 soldering station. And some people hate these things, but I like them. You kind of have to get used to having two irons. But man, that's really easy. And that looks totally as was the day it left the factory on that component. I like to clear away the flux residue since I use a tacky flux for most stuff. And I get a lot of questions, you know, what equipment do you recommend? What microscope do you recommend? And the answer is, you know, I don't know. I never did any research. I just, you know, picked what seemed like it was on sale at the time or what somebody else said they used, and it works for me. But I have no breadth of knowledge to really recommend one over another. This thing I recommend, though, for sure. This is the Amazon DataVac electric duster that you can plug in and save yourself a ton of money on canned air. All right, now let's take another look at that filter again and see how we did. Let's see if I can point to it. There it is, nice and shiny. Looks good. Ready to go. All right, now let's plug back in the test LCD, Mr. Motown Millions. All right, so we're back to my test LCD and test screen. We're going to plug this in. See an Apple logo, see a normal display, call it a day, tell the customer that they need to go yell at a parts supplier. Whoever that may be. Alright, let's see what happens. Let's go back over to the corner. All right, last time we were looking at this, we had backlight only. Now I'm hitting the power button. And we've got an Apple logo. And it boots to normal display. Swipe. And that's a normal looking iPad too. Okay, so this was a case of no image, only backlight due to a defective LCD, a defective replacement LCD, and the behavior of the defective LCD to actually blow the backlight, or to blow the image filter itself. So be careful with your replacement iPad 2 LCDs. This is the second time I've seen that exact same problem. And that's the end of this video.